What is up, everybody? Welcome back to RC's Gateway to Comics. Today we are going to be taking a look at a rather intriguing little story put out by Camel Moon. And for those of you who aren't aware, Camel Moon, I believe he rose to prominence in Comicsgate whenever he was putting out some animation called Hail Salad. I know that there was some stuff before that, but I think it was taken down by YouTube because of copyright stuff. And Hail Salad is sort of what brought him into most people's eyes. So, what better way to capitalize on that than by having a comic book about it? And that was my first exposure to Camel Moon. And of course, I had to get the comic. Now, this is sort of the origin story of the Hail Salad story, and it revolves around. Do I want to get into that right now? No, I'll give you guys some more background information because it is important. The Hail Salad animation is characters that were created by Camel Moon, and it uses audio from various different live streams with Ethan Van Sciver, John Malin, Anno That Star Wars Girl, Cecil, Kelsey Shannon, and many other people from the Comicsgate community. And whenever you take that into account, I always saw those characters as their respective voices. So I always saw the Ethan character as Ethan and Cecil Pede as Cecil, and so on and so forth. This comic sort of turns that on its head because it gives each of the characters their own backstory, which sort of has some rooting in real life in like a parody sort of way, but trying to separate those two characters in my mind after first being exposed to that through the audio and animation, it is a little bit jarring. When it comes to this story, like I said, it is the origin of the Hail Salad characters. There is Ethos, the Space Spartan, and that's Ethan's character. You'll see him right here with VOR, which is the voice of reason. And then you also have the Cecil Pede. And where are we? I'm going to give you some other exposure to characters. Then we have King Zach, sort of a play on Zach from what's he calling himself now? He used to be called Diversity in Comics, but now he is Comics Matter with your boy Zach. So we have Ethos and Zach fighting together against the trolls, which I guess are referencing the internet trolls. And then we have, I believe it's, what is it? Starfish Girl. Starfish Girl, Meringatang, and Cecil Pede. And those are the main characters of the story. Wanger comes in a little bit later on as his character, and it's sort of Ethos fighting his way into the, what's the castle's name? The castle Troll Skull. Sort of fighting his way into there and trying to defeat the former king of this realm, and also the Queen V, who I'm not entirely sure who that's referring to, but she's like the queen troll and as causes problems for Ethos and Zack at the beginning, and is eventually dealt with. But seeing these characters and giving them a backstory it's intriguing to see, and I can see it as definitely as a beginning point for the animation story. I think Camel was talking about releasing the animation as like a DVD and doing it through crowdfunding, which I would totally be open to, and I think it'd be intriguing to see how much backing that gets, because no one has really thought of doing that before, at least in the Comicsgate community. And it is a good way of continuing the story with these characters. My only thing is that I'm so used to the audio being pulled from live streams and that sort of comedic banter that they all have, that it's difficult for me to see them as the same characters. Um, with this, like, I went into it trying to imagine the characters as their real life counterparts, I guess you could say. And the story doesn't really work that way. It is definitely much more of a parody of real world events, and that's what I think Camel Moon is best at. But I think it also works to its detriment, because for everyone who would be used to the Hail Salad characters, they are used to the audio being pulled from various different live streams. And some of the live streams I have seen, and it is mainly for comedic purposes. And this is more of like action orientated while still having a tiny bit of comedic effect to it. It's more of an action fantasy than comedy. There is little bits of comedy thrown in there as like reference gags, but it does play itself seriously. And that's I'm certainly welcoming that. Is that how you say it? And the story is intriguing. I think it is quite funny. It is enjoyable, and I do want to see more of the characters. I just think that it doesn't seem like the same universe, solely because of that exposure to the live stream material prior to it. I'm totally open to seeing a continuation of this series and seeing more of that action fantasy part of Hail Salad. And honestly, I give Camel Moon props for building on that world that he created. Definitely seeing the origin of these characters was fun, and seeing them all interact, I do believe that they are a group of friends, and it is definitely entertaining to see the various types of craziness that they get into. Now, the only thing that I will say about the art is that it is very unique. Camel Moon definitely has his own style. It is a very colorful style, and it's one that will definitely stick out to you. And the only thing, like, I'm stuck between two different mindsets here. The explosion of color, as I can probably call it, does work well with the story and with the characters, but sometimes on the pages it does get very hard to follow where stuff is supposed to go. And I feel like if there was if there was maybe some more differentiation between the panels, or maybe making the characters stick out from the background more, that might help. But then again, the background and the world in which the story takes place is supposed to be bright and colorful. So if you're taking away one thing, then you risk harming the other. But at the same time, the two can't really go together without being sometimes a little bit of a jumbled mess. It's very difficult to say what needs to be done, because the story does need that blast of color to it, but also it needs some little bits where you need to focus on one thing, and it's very difficult to do that with like bright green and bright yellow and bright purple and all sorts of other colors hitting you in the eyes at the same time. So I don't know if there is a remedy to that. It's not something that's going to completely take you out, but it is something that I noticed, and that may just be because I am an artist, but I'm not sure if anyone else feels that same way. I don't get me wrong, I did very much enjoy the story, and I am going to be getting into the rating after this, but I feel like there is just there's sometimes too much going on with the art. So, with all of that being said, my final review for Hail Salad is definitely going to be a popcorn level. I do very much enjoy the story. It did take a little bit of time to separate the characters from their real life counterparts in the animation side of things. But once I was able to do that and see it as the action fantasy in a comedic world, then I enjoyed it much, much better. I definitely recommend checking out Hail Salad. Definitely check out Camel Moon's channel. I know that he live streams a lot with Michael Bancroft, and he has his own shows. So definitely stop in and check those out. I believe he does some art stuff as well on his channel, and that would definitely be cool to see. So, if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like down below. And if you enjoyed Hail Salad, if you have seen the Hail Salad animations, let me know your thoughts on those down in the comments as well. Have you backed any of Camel Moon's other crowdfunded campaigns? I know that he has some of those out there, so definitely go and check those out. And if you would, please also subscribe to this channel so we can continue to bring more fantastic books like this out in front of more people. Because the more people that see this, the more that the indie comics community is going to grow. So, thank you guys all for watching, and I will see all of you guys in the next video. Peace out.